Hey everybody, it's Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. Hope you're having an okay day today. It's a tough one, I realize. Yes, it's a slaughterhouse out there in the crypto market, and we've certainly had better days. Don't worry, we're going to address it head on. We're not shying away from the negative news. Altcoin Buzz is out there every day, rain or shine. You guys know that out there in the Altcoin Buzz army. We're going to discuss what's happening. We're going to address it head on. We're also going to discuss some other things that are happening. We're talking about the fact that, hey, on the bright side of things, and it's an indirect bright side, but cryptocurrency crime is way down versus where it was a few years ago. 80% down, in fact. So we're going to get Alicia's take on that, courtesy of some information we got by way of Bloomberg. We're also coming at you with the latest installment in our ICO review series, this time looking at Safe Haven. But we're going to spend the first half of this video discussing the state of the market because I'm sure many of you guys are feeling it. It's a tough one. And by all accounts, we've actually reached, unfortunately, a new low for 2018 in terms of the total overall crypto market cap. So we were at $220 or so billion just a few minutes before I started recording. But as of right now, we're sitting at 223. We've dropped off a cliff today. The fall has been precipitous, and we're certainly bleeding. There's no doubt about it. I mean, just look at some of these. The best performing project right now is Aurora, up less than 1% today. If you flip that, yeah, we're down in many cases double-digit negatives, well into the 20% negatives today. A lot of retracement. It's unfortunate. Looking at some of the top 10 or top 20 coins, I mean, look, I don't want to rub your noses in it or whatever, but, you know, we're down 8% at minimum here, 15%, 16, 13, 10. Tether's doing okay. Big surprise there. So look, no need to embellish the hurt, but this is what's going on. It's one of those days that's it's been difficult. Jeff has just addressed this in a live stream, which you guys can now view on the Altcoin Buzz YouTube channel. So if you're looking at perhaps a more in-depth explanation, take a look at his video. We're going to link to that, of course, in the description below. You know, I have a couple of different opinions about this issue. If you're not up to speed on the news we covered yesterday, this is pretty much the result for the most part. In my opinion, it's the result, an overreaction to what we saw yesterday out of the SEC, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, which announced that they're delaying the decision as to whether or not there's going to be a Bitcoin ETF. That was supposed to be something that they would perhaps come out with on August 10th. They've delayed their decision until September 30th. So they delayed that by 6 or 7 weeks. And it's funny because internally, the Altcoin Buzz team, we were all discussing the fact that, well, hey, that's not bad news. That's actually kind of bullish news, because it would stand to reason that if they're not just dismissing it outright, okay, yes, they're delaying it, but it shows that they're taking it seriously. If it were a joke, or if it was something that they never considered approving in the first place or authorizing, then they would just reject it. So the fact that they're delaying it, to some extent, the way I see it and the way some other people have seen it, to some extent, it suggests that this is something that's serious, that is being considered as a serious option. I guess the market took it the other way. Obviously, we've taken a major spill here, and that's unfortunate. Now, look, guys, I mean, you may not have my point of view when it comes to this, but I haven't made a lot of purchases, and I did make some purchases today because this is, I view it as an opportunity to buy when blood is running in the streets. This is certainly blood that's running in the streets. So, yeah, I made a couple of acquisitions, and I don't want to advertise too much. If you guys hit me up in the comments, then maybe I'll be willing to share a little bit more. But that's how I view things. I'm a long-term kind of guy. I'm not looking for my Lambo next month, and I have patience, and I'm not willing to sell at a loss. I believe in the technology. So that's the state of affairs. If you guys aren't up to speed on what we discussed in terms of the SEC, you can take a look at our reporting from yesterday. We'll also link to that in the discussion below. Take a look at Jeff's live stream, which he did out of his Dubai hotel room at in the wee hours of the morning, or at least in his late PM. You know, guys, look, at the very least, at a time when a lot of personalities in the crypto space and a lot of YouTubers are disappearing off the face of the earth, nobody can point the finger at Altcoin Buzz, because in good times or in bad, we're going to give you guys the news. We're going to give you guys our opinions. And Jeff said it very well. He said it's best to show face even when times aren't so great. And look, we're not fair weather fans. We're not bandwagoning on anything. Whether the news is good or bad, we're going to be here reporting it for you. We're not shying away from anything. And we want to have that discussion that's ongoing with you all in the Altcoin Buzz Army. So hopefully you're not hurting too much. If you are, let's discuss it in the comments. Everybody's got a different approach when it comes to these things. I like to remain optimistic. I like to look at things over the long-term horizon. And look, if things keep dipping, again, not financial advice, but I'm going to buy the dip and I'm going to take advantage of some of the fire sale deals that are happening right now as to some of my favorite projects. But look, if you have a different opinion, as Jeff said, things are getting a little bit salty and tensions are starting to flare a little bit. I understand. We totally acknowledge that. It's been rough out there. It's certainly been rough. But do be sure to let us know your thoughts on the issue. Make sure you watch Jeff's live stream from earlier in the day. Again, that came by way of Dubai. And let us know what you think about the whole issue. It's not an ideal situation, but eventually things will turn around. Eventually. All right, so moving on now, we're taking a look at Licia's article here about how criminals no longer use Bitcoin, now speculators do. So what is this all about? Lolita Infante, a U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration special agent from Cyber Investigative Task Force, claims that criminals have fallen out of love with crypto. According to her, Bitcoin is now less used for malicious purposes and more for speculation, writes Bloomberg.com. So Bitcoin transactions have long been associated with the criminal world. Thus, it has been claimed that the Russian hackers who allegedly hacked the files of the American Democratic Party have used Bitcoin. And as I like to joke, those Russian hackers also wear running shoes, eat Fruit Loops, and use toilet paper. So watch out for those products as well. Before that, the European police Europol, which has expressed concerns about the issue, seized $5.2 million worth of Bitcoin and 800,000 doses of LSD from European drug lords. Yet according to Infante, the tables have turned, at least partially. So if 5 years ago, quote, her analysis of blockchain data showed criminal activity was behind about 90% of transactions in the cryptocurrency. Now, the illegal activity is visible in only 10% of the cases. An 80% decrease is certainly impressive, and yet it is too early to celebrate as the motley criminal crew is nowhere close to giving up. Besides, the total transaction volume has surged significantly since 2013. But that's quite a big difference if you go back. I mean, 90% of transactions versus 10% of cases today. Yes, as Licia points out, the market has swelled up. So in terms of just raw numbers, you're still probably seeing more criminal activity, but in a relative sense, those percentages have gone way down. And I always laugh at people that say that cryptocurrency is the choice of criminals that are looking to launder money, that are looking to use funds illicitly. It is so much easier to do that with cash. And I'm not trying to take like the pro-criminal perspective here, but if I were to do something nefarious, I would choose in a second to do it with cash because it's untraceable. It's the kind of thing that doesn't leave any digital fingerprints. I mean, the right forensics team can, trace wallet histories. There's a lot more information to be had in the blockchain space. And I'm not saying it's a perfect system, but it's much more difficult to pull off a sophisticated heist with cryptocurrency and on the blockchain than it is to do with basically cash that is a bunch of printed ink on paper. Just my opinion. Quote, the volume has grown tremendously. The amount of transactions and the dollar value has grown tremendously over the years in criminal activity, but the ratio has decreased. So that's a good thing we can point to. The majority of transactions are used for price speculation, Infante noted. You guys can read a little bit more about this, Licia's article here. I think on the whole, it's a good thing because we do get a bit of a bad rap in cryptocurrency in the blockchain space. There's this reputation that, we're all these hacker types and perhaps we're sympathetic to criminals in the cyber world. No, we're not. And it's nice to see these kinds of statistics that are a little bit reassuring and suggest that, hey, we're not the bad eggs that society perhaps thinks so many of us are. Speaking of bad eggs, I'm sick and tired of, not members of the Altcoin Buzz Army, obviously, but imposters that are infiltrating the comments and that are talking about, oh, Mr. Gary Charles has made me such and so many Bitcoins. I promise you right now, you will be deleted for those comments, but in the interim, I will make fun of you and I will ruin your efforts. I will troll you to the ends of the earth to make sure that no other members of the Altcoin Buzz Army fall for your scammy tactics. I think, honestly, our Altcoin Buzz soldiers are too smart for that in the first place. But just for the enjoyment's sake of it, I will make fun of you if you leave those comments. Mark my words. So you guys can read, sorry for that tangent, but just letting you guys know. Now, like I said, tensions are high. People are trying all kinds of different things. There's some people that are backed into the corners like animals, and they're resorting to some of these scam tactics. So I'm not having any of that. Neither is the rest of the altcoin buzz team. You can read about Licia's story that she covered here on Bloomberg. Bitcoin speculators, not drug dealers, dominate crypto use now. So take a look at this article. Of course, we're going to link to that in the description below. And finally today, guys, we have the next installment in our ICO review series, this time looking at Safe Haven. So as usual, we rank all kinds of different categories quantitatively. We look at the team, we look at the business, marketing, we look at the technology, the advisors, the economics of it all, the partnerships that the project has struck up, the white paper, what it's all about. And we give an ultimate rating out of 100 based on the aggregation of all the sub ratings we make in these individual categories. You're getting the aggregation of multiple opinions, multiple analysts on the Altcoin Buzz team. And we don't have time, as usual, to go through everything, but an overview of Safe Haven is as follows. It's building a solution for inheritance, asset distribution, and asset control. With the growing adoption and acceptance of cryptocurrency, digital inheritance has become a critical technological need. It is built on the VeChain Thor blockchain, working in unison with their patented Trust Alliance Network, TAN. There are a number of current solutions to safeguard private keys. However, not all can protect against physical destruction, poorly issued trust, a breach of security, and general theft. Safe Haven encrypts distributed shares to data and assets until predetermined conditions are met, such as death, illness, or other. There are two major entities in the network: the initiator, who is the one who wants to secure their legacy, and the validator, the legal entities selected by the initiator to complete the inheritance process through TAN. So a very original, a very unique project that's out there. If you want to read more about Safe Haven, of course, we're going to link to our ICO review in the description below, so do be sure to check it out. And with that, guys, make sure you're following Altcoin Buzz and Altcoin Buzz News, because as soon as more good news breaks and as soon as this inevitable upturn in the market does come down and does bless us with good fortune and prosperity, sooner or later it's going to be here. We're going to alert you to it through our channel. So make sure you're up to date. If you like this video, leave us a thumbs up. Leave us your comments about how you're dealing with the unfortunate market conditions. Again, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you click the bell to be notified to the new content we put out, which is every day. Again, we're not fair weather fans. We are winter soldiers. We're here no matter what. With that, guys, if you choose to invest, not financial advice, but if you choose to invest, I wish you happy investing. We will see you all again soon in a new video. Stay well, take care. We'll see you soon.